Hey, what's up everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is my review for Season 2 of Davenport Diaries, the Scarlet Tears entries. I know that this is late, but a lot of you know that I've been dealing with a lot in my personal life, and those who've reached out to me, I'd like to thank you all for your love and support. While I was going through my, hard time, and so special shout out to Lindsay Wagner, Andrea Parker, Tanzania Allen, Caesar Williams. I really do thank you guys, and also the BRTV TV family for reaching out to me, during my hard time. But I wanted to let you all know I have been following everything, even though you guys haven't seen a video from me in a while. I've been following everything, and what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to talk about some of the things that went down this season, because this season was lit, and I have to say, congratulations to the BRTV TV family, the cast and crew. You guys delivered an awesome season of Davenport Diaries, and I was here for everything. So let me begin on certain things that that stood out for me. First, I want to talk about the brothers, Lawrence and Marcus Hampton, because they pretty much have, due to the fact that Julian sold most of the shares, they now have controlling shares of Davenport Industries, and they both are literally coming in acting like they own the shit. But first, let me talk about Lawrence. See, we come to find out in this season that Lawrence initially had an alliance with Fallon, and him and Fallon were together. And actually, they were planning on doing this even without Julian. Julian just kind of set things up for them, but that was going to go down whether Julian was involved or not. And as a matter of fact, Julian didn't find out until later that Fallon had already had an alliance with Lawrence to take over Davenport Industries and for her to get reinstated as CEO. But we definitely know that Fallon, that Lawrence is just one of the guys that Fallon's talking to. We knew she was talking to old Daryl, who's like old boxer boy, and she was also messing around with Christian. And I'm definitely going to talk about that later too. But eventually, well, pretty much around, I think it was episode 4, we find out that Lawrence and Fallon broke up. Now Lawrence is now bitter and is now more vicious and more treacherous than ever before, because at first he was willing to do all of this for Fallon, but since Fallon dumped him, he's now become more mean-spirited, and now he's gloating of the fact that he controls the board of Davenport Industries, and that he's gonna run it the way he wants to run it. But Fallon had me rolling when she put his ass out and was like, with your small ass penis. I was like, damn. So that explains why Lawrence is so overachieving, trying to compensate for what he lacks. But we see Lawrence in this whole season, and Lawrence is like a bully, even when it comes to Marcus, because the thing about it, Marcus Hampton was not even a part of the deal. He wasn't even supposed to be there. But Lawrence wanted him there to be his eyes and ears, because he tells Fallon that the way we do business, we always have a family member involved. We don't never trust, the person we're doing business with. So even unbeknownst to Fallon, and Fallon didn't know until one day she went to Davenport Industries and saw Marcus there, and she's like, what the fuck is Marcus doing here? But actually, it was Lawrence bringing Marcus into the situation which led to Marcus's demise. Because we later find out that, Marcus begins to develop a closeness to Elora. And him and Elora go back and forth, and he shares some of his personal angst, some of his, some of the things that's been troubling him. Like, he really wants to impress his father. This is like his last, this is like his last hurrah to really make something of himself, or his father's gonna like literally wash his hands of him pretty much. And him and Elora is having this conversation, and we can see that Elora is somewhat intrigued with him, and she really starting to see this other side to Marcus that he doesn't show everybody. Because soon as Marcus came in there, Marcus was acting like this arrogant asshole. And one, he's good. He's definitely a sight for sore eyes, because Marcus is fine, but Marcus is mean. He's arrogant, and he is quick to rip somebody down, because we've definitely seen him do that with Chadwick. We've seen him do this chauvinistic thing to all the women in the office, and it's like we see that he definitely has that messy trait, but there also is this human that's kind of trapped, and he's feeling like, I have to be somebody, so therefore my father can be proud of me, because I've messed up so much. He was the one that never lived up to expectations, and Elora could connect to that. So that was interesting. But then Elora, unbeknownst to her, she goes to have a conversation with Tessa, and shout out to Deborah Barut Foreman. You are one phenomenal actress, Deborah, because you played Tessa up this season. Tessa was giving me Carly B tease. She was wearing bloody shoes and making bloody moves. Do you hear me? Because Elora, just having a casual conversation, tells her that, I've been getting close to Marcus, and, I'm starting to see another side to him. He's talking about, his father, about his father being sick and all of that, and immediately, that damn Tessa, that shit rings an alarm to her. So what my girl Tessa does some digging, and when she finds out that the whole damn time their father's in ICU, and they have been making deals, and they have been making business moves with the whole with the whole idea that he's still alive and he's still active when he's not. So if this gets out, this will ruin the whole Hampton family. They will literally be turned to shit just like that. So Tessa uses this little information, and she approaches Lawrence and Marcus, even kept and also even had Elora sit in on it. And she lets it be known that, look, I have information that will tear your whole family down. So what you're going to do is that you're going to sign me over as CEO, and you guys are going to get the hell out of here. So at the end of the day, it was like, damn, Tessa came out of nowhere. But Tessa always had this business strategy, because we seen, earlier in the season when she tried to help Chadwick make a business transaction, even though the shit was fake, but still, Tessa knows how to make some moves, even if it's in the bedroom. She know how to will and deal to make things happen. So that goes to let you know that she probably helped Barron land some of those most prominent deals in Davenport Industries. But she's kind of like the person that everybody's like, oh, Tessa, really? And it's because a lot of people don't see that side to Tessa. But Tessa got her position as CEO, and we see that, yeah, the Hamptons are now out. But then we also witness Marcus gets murdered by Chadwick, aka Chaddick. And this, like, towards the end, we literally see that Lawrence is mad for revenge. And plus, when he found out that Chadwick was schizophrenic, and that they knew this for years, and yet they still had him employed there, because he was going back and forth with Tessa and was getting real aggressive with her, even told, because she said that, look, he almost killed my daughter. He pushed Fallon over the banister, you know, and you know, I think he also may have did something to Kat. I don't know, but definitely he killed Marcus, and you know, Lawrence is pissed off, and he's like, you know, shooting off threats. Jabril comes and breaks it up and tells him to get the hell out of here, and he says, your family will pay. I will get to the bottom of my brother's death. Well, Lawrence, you're partly responsible because your brother shouldn't have been up in there anyway, but since you had your brother up in there, and since he was affiliated with, like, you mad, but yet at the end of the day, you planted your brother there, and your brother pretty much became, unfortunately, he became a sacrificial lamb because he decided to involve himself with Chaddock, and Chaddock was on some other shit. And I'm definitely going to talk about him because, yo, Dante Hensley, you did a phenomenal job this season. I was so here for Chadwick because I became more drawn to him, and I started to see more to Chadwick than met the eye before. I mean, because I was already seeing that, yeah, there was something not right with Chadwick, especially after that scene where he killed Jordan, and Jordan was reading him his rights. He ain't like that shit. And pretty much what Jordan told him in that Doomsday episode was pretty much the same thing that Tessa told him when she became CEO. Kind of the same shit. So it's like, we kind of see, like, with him is that it's this complex, but I'm definitely gonna get to that. But yeah, so that's what happened with the Hamptons. You know, Marcus ends up getting murdered, and Lawrence is now out for revenge, and he wants to destroy the Davenports because of his brother's death. But at the end of the day, you're partly responsible for your brother's death yourself, because nobody knew and nobody saw that Chadwick would do something like this. But it just goes to show, you know, how much of a sociopath Chadwick really was. Alright, the next person I want to talk about is that damn Chloe. Now, Chloe, you know, shout out to Crystal Casellas, you know, did an amazing job, sweetheart. She played this damn role because we starting to see another side of Chloe. Chloe is more vindictive. She's very bitchy. She's very sneaky, and she's making all of these moves. And we come to find out that not only did she kidnap, that she had her mother Kat kidnapped, but Chadwick helped her do it. So, and the thing is, she promised Chadwick the power of attorney, Kat's power of attorney, so he can run that, you know, those business operations in DC. But Chloe never gave it to him. So he threatened to expose her for the fact that she kidnapped Kat and that she's not this, you know, nice demure woman that she always portrays. But then again, she also knows about him killing Jordan. And she's like, boo boo, I can air your shit out too. But then later on we see that she reaches out to Winston for help because she knows that Chadwick can fuck everything up for her. And if anything, he was like, yeah, and I can get Kat to vouch for me because she's starting to take a liking to me and shit. So we see that Chadwick has been having personal meetings with Kat. So I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. And I didn't even see it coming. I was like, yo, you were involved in kidnapping Kat too? And he even joked, he even told her, like, bitch, you don't, only reason why you did that shit was because you wanted that loser Julian, because she was going to take away your little dick from you, and that's the reason why you had her kidnapped, so you can chase after Julian, but now you realize that Julian ain't shit, so, oh well. But, yeah, that was crazy. And then, also, Julian does come back this season, and shout out to Eric Pizarro. Yo, he plays the fuck out of Julian, because Julian is that character that I hated so bad, but towards the end of the season, I started to look at Julian a different way. But yeah, so Chloe, you know, pretty much goes to Jabril because she's trying to get the power of attorney and trying to get access to her mother's funds. Well, Jabril, and she doesn't want him to go through the police or go through the right channel. She wants him to kind of work his magic so she can get access to it. Jabril did it. He got her access, but he only gave her partial access because he says that right now this is under investigation. I'm trying to add things up and find out what's going on here. You know, so if there's something you want to tell me or something you're leaving out, let me know. And as soon as he was about to walk away, Chloe says, I have to tell you something. So I think she may be confessing, or she may be telling them something, but we don't know because that's where it ended as far as Chloe. So yeah, Chloe was making some messes. She got it. She ran into Julian. You know, she really ain't trying to hear what Julian has to say, but Julian is pretty much letting her know that he's sorry how the way things went down. But then he said it really hurt him that when he had got shot at the launch party, she kind of like looked, she kind of smiled and walked away. And it's like, you know, I felt like you were happy that I got shot. She's like, I would be even more happier if you were dead. You know, because he did take her virginity and made a fool out of her. And then she finds out that he had sex with Jordan, you know, beforehand. So that was crazy. But then she ends up breaking up a fight between him and Chadwick, and you know how much Chadwick hated Julian, especially when he found out that Julian was Fallon's son. So he's more next in line to becoming the head of Davenport than him, and you know how much he wants power. But they get into like this fight, and Chloe breaks it up, and that's when we find out that Chloe and Chadwick are actually working together. And she said, I did this so I can protect your ass, Chadwick, because we got a lot on the line, and you losing your cool can fuck everything up. Alright, so next person I want to talk about is Elora. I love Elora. You know, a lot of people be giving Elora flack. I mean, I be watching some people, you know, in the comments and stuff. They always be going in on Elora. But I love Elora because Elora is a very strong, determined businesswoman. She's very strategic. She's a very good thinker, and she's a threat to this, you know, chauvinistic world of men that she works for, because that was literally the biggest issue between her and Chadwick, because Chadwick saw her as a threat, and Chadwick hated the fact that she was never the type of go along to get along type of female. She questioned everything. We even seen her challenge Winston's WinCorp deal that he's been trying to get together this whole season, and she's saying that, look, we can't invest in no deal like this. It could actually, you know, there's no guarantees that this deal's gonna work, and she was questioning everything. So, and then also she kind of even felt the same thing from Lawrence as well. Like, she felt that, okay, when they was having a meeting with Winston, he sent Elora out the room, so she feels like, okay, why am I not being treated like an equal? Why are they treating me like a less than because I'm a woman? And I do hard work for this company, and I put in a lot of long hours to help keep things running, but they treat me like I'm not they treat me like I'm not good enough, and they treat me like I'm a less than. And it's because they have this chauvinistic idea that women don't belong in business. And then we even see that Winston even has a conversation with Chadwick where he even tells, because, you know, after she hears about his WinCorp deal, Elora says that she's going to go to Uncle Barron and talk about it. Winston and Chadwick have a conversation, and Winston lets Chadwick know Barron doesn't respect women, and he doesn't think women belong in business. So he'll entertain her thoughts, but at the end of the day, nothing's going to come of it. So we already see that it's a man's game, and Elora is kind of like the lamb surrounded by wolves. And we see how she constantly is getting into spats with Chadwick because Chadwick wants her gone. And it's because, you know, when it came down to that launch party, she was one of the people that was in line to becoming one of the heads of the DC operation. It was her, Julian, and Chadwick. And it was going to be between the three of them. So he saw Elora as a threat because Elora is good at what she does. And he didn't like her because she wasn't going along with him. Because after Jabril was out of the CEO, Barron made Chadwick co-CEO, and Chadwick was literally acting like he owned the fucking company. He literally was throwing his weight around and letting her know that I'm CEO and you work for me and you're supposed to execute the things I say and blah blah blah. So it was constantly this power struggle between them, because Elora is not the type of person you're going to talk at or talk down to. She's going to speak her mind, and she don't care about your feelings. And, you know, it was just funny sometimes seeing them two go back and forth, because they were constantly throwing jabs. And to one point, she even said that he sounds like a Disney villain with his threats. And he did, though, because he was really giving me Jafar tease, like, you know, if you don't listen to me, my threats will come true. And even later on, we kind of see him like, this is not the end, it's the beginning. Like, he was kind of giving that. So it was kind of funny when she said he was a Disney villain. That was cute. But we see that Elora, you know, this whole thing going on, and then she was even more upset when she found out that Tessa found out about, you know, about Marcus's father, and she ousted the Hampton. She said that, yeah, I wanted them gone, but I didn't want you to do it this way. Like, this man really cares for his father, and you use that as a way to take the company back. You know, like, how can you live with yourself? But then Tessa read her ass for filth. She's like, look, you're ungrateful. You know, not only got to deal with ungrateful children, but now I got to deal with an ungrateful niece too. First of all, you're sitting up here getting your nose wide open by Marcus because you like him and shit. But at the end of the day, he's a Hampton, and all Hamptons do is screw and move on. So at the end of the day, boo-boo, you need to grow the hell up, and you need to stop being weak and stop being. And because she had told Tessa that I'm not liking what I'm seeing, and she told her, like, well, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. This weak, you know, this weak, tired ass woman who just believe in shit that men tell her and just kind of getting caught up in the lights. You need to wake the hell up. And we see that later on, Marcus and her do have an exchange. Well, one, they had an exchange because she saw Marcus flirting with Chloe, and she felt some kind of way because they would have these personal discussions. And I'm like, boo-boo, you wouldn't have felt some kind of way if you didn't like him. So therefore, Tessa was right. You were feeling Marcus. And when you saw him talking to Chloe, it made you feel some kind of way. So you went in there and you kind of went off on him about it. And then Marcus was being the cocky asshole that Marcus is. He was like, so what is it? You're mad that I'm taking Chloe out instead of you? But then once everything hit the fan, you know, and, you know, Tessa ousts the Hamptons after she reveals the information about their father, he goes off on Elora later on, and he tells her that I trusted you with you know, some personal information about my life, and you use it to go against me. You know better than the rest of these damn Davenports. You all are disgusting, and you're all this and you're all that. And Elora's saying that, look, I had no idea, and I didn't tell her anything. She didn't. She just told her that, you know, he just mentioned, you know, his father being sick. She didn't say anything in detail about his dad. She just said that, you know, we've been having these conversations. But Tessa, as I said, she had on bloody shoes and she was making money moves. She found out what the fuck was really going down, and she used it to shut the Hamptons down. So the sad thing is that the last exchange between Elora and Marcus was a bad one. And then the next thing you know, we see that Chadwick killed Marcus. She walks in the room. Chadwick turns the gun on her. They go back and forth, and she literally works. She really kind of pleads with him to give her the gun. Eventually, Chadwick breaks down. She grabs the gun. And, you know, Chadwick starts to taunt her, and he's like, what are you doing, Elora? What the hell are you doing? You're not built for this. And it's like all of the attacks that she's been receiving, all of the chauvinism, and then also being reprimanded by Tessa starts to play in her head. And next thing you know, she puts a bullet in fucking Chadwick's chest. So she ended Chadwick. So now Elora got a body count on her ass. And we see she's not dealing with it very well. She's still shaken up. And then we see that she goes to talk to Jabril. She tells Jabril about it, but Jabril is definitely, beside the fact that she's working with Winston, and he was saying that, look, don't trust Winston, and he lets her know that, don't trust him. But then she also has a conversation with Winston, and Winston wants her to work for him at Wyncourt because he said that she would be perfect there. We're going to see what's going to happen with that, but right now she's still in shock. Winston's letting her know, like, look, you need to get past this. It was a clear-cut case of him or you, and you chose to survive. He could have killed you, but you used your instincts and you did what you had to do. But Elora's like, I normally don't. She's literally blown away because this is going to change Elora forever. Elora will never be the same. And we definitely noticed that when she had a conversation with Christian, and she read Christian's ass for filth, because he now finds out, because Christian, which I'm going to talk about later on, Christian definitely was having this secret relationship with Fallon that Elora found out about, and she told him to either end it or I'm gonna tell Jabril. So he lies to her because Fallon gets him to tell her that you're in love with her, and that will stop her from telling Jabril. And that's exactly what he did. And at first I was thinking, the way he was looking, he may be in love with Elora. But then he later on confesses to her that he wasn't in love with her. He just said that to stall her from telling Jabril. So that ended their friendship, and she pretty much said that, you're a piece of shit. And what really started that argument was that there was this guy because later on we see in episode 4 that Fallon and Christian break up. Well, she ends it because Christian didn't want to end it. But Fallon ended it because she said that, look, this relationship is not good. We can never really be out in the open with it. And, it's not going to go anywhere. So she decided to end it. We later on find out that Fallon gets pregnant. We don't know who the daddy is at first because she was messing with 3 different men. But later on, towards the end of the season, we come to find out that the baby was Christian's, and Fallon was gonna plan on going to Europe to raise the baby, and wasn't gonna tell Christian nothing. So when Christian found this out, and him and Fallon go back and forth, and he pretty much called her the sorriest bitch he ever knew. So we already see that, now he is upset with Fallon because he sees how conniving and messy she is, and how she wasn't she wasn't honest and transparent with him, because she knew it was Christian's baby the whole time. While we didn't know who the baby daddy was, she did. And she lost the baby after Chadwick pushed her over the banister. And Christian finally comes to Elora and is like, you were right, I should have listened to you, Fallon, and he tells her about the whole situation with the baby. And Elora reads him for filth, like, oh, so now your situation didn't work out, and now you realize the truth. Now you want to come and apologize to me after I told you what was going on, but yet you lied to me, you schemed and all that, and because now your plan didn't work out, now you want to come running back to me and say we're friends? Man, get the fuck out of my face. And she kind of said that, look, I'll deal with you when I deal with you, but I got a lot going on. He has no idea that she killed Chadwick. So that's going to be interesting to see if they can mend their friendship, and whether things are going to, how is he going to play a role in helping her, once he finds out that she killed Chadwick. Because right now they're saying that it's a murder-suicide. Winston does what he does. He's a fixer. He knows how to clean things up. And Winston was doing some things this season, I have to say. Now this damn Chadwick here. Chadwick's not only having we actually seen that he's having a little fling with Winston, but Winston is only using him to get that Wyncourt deal for real. And he really feels that Winston really is. He doesn't feel that Chadwick is on his level. He's trying to get Chadwick where he is, but we know that damn Chadwick is emotional and that Chadwick is somewhat unstable, so it's it's not really working in Chadwick's favor after a while. And then we also know that Chadwick is also messing with Ian. And shout out to shout out to Christopher Haven, because we get to see more about Ian this season, and Ian is a damn trip. Ian is one messy she is one messy bitch, but she's gorgeous though. Like, every time I see Ian, I'm like I get that vibe from Ian, because Ian is so gorgeous. He is very good looking, and it works to his favor. But Ian, on the other hand, was trying to make all these moves and shit, and he tried to move on one person, and that person read him. And I had to say, that scene between, I'm gonna get to it. Well, the thing is, what I mean by this is that, Ian pretty much is a hoe. So, and he was making hoe moves, selling people a story, selling people a dream, to get what he wants. I mean, hey, he's the best at it, and he goes after rich men. I mean, after all, him and Baron were lovers, and Baron got rid of him because he found out about his, relationship that he had going on with Chadwick. Well, not with Chadwick, I'm sorry. With his relationship he had going on with Christian. Forgive me. So, we had all that go on. But, let's just say Chadwick was kind of like, him and Chadwick and Ian kind of had a thing, going on and everything. And, Chadwick was promising him stuff that he was going to help him and he was going to make his life better, because when we see Ian this season, Ian is living in a room. Ian is renting a room. He got all this high fashion, attire, but he's renting a room, and he has very little to no money. So what ends up happening is that Chadwick finally gets him a job, at Davenport as an assistant, because he wants him to be his eyes and ears, towards Marcus Hampton, because we also saw in the episode that Chadwick had something on Marcus, that Marcus kind of had like a Chappaquiddick situation where he drove a car in the lake and he left and the girl died, and he was holding that over his head, letting them know that, look, we can work together or I can work against you. So he's supposed to be using Ian as his eyes and ears to find out what's going on with Marcus, so he'll know how to strike. But that scene when they was in the hallway was funny, because Ian is very feminine, and we know that Chadwick is having issues. He not only has issues with gays, but he has issues with them. Really, his issue is not really with being gay. The real issue is with femininity. He doesn't like feminine men, and he doesn't like women. So when he saw Ian, in the hallway, he kind of flipped out and was like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And Ian was like, "Look, what? I came here to see you." And he's like, "I told you not to come here." And Ian was like, "What? Are you afraid that people are gonna find out that you're gay?" "Well, you are, Blanche. You are." I was rolling. I was like, "Oh my god, yo, that was hilarious." But then he gives him a job, and while he's working there, we see that this damn Ian, he starts, plotting. He pretty much, him and Chloe rekindle, and when he was talking shit about Kat, it pissed her off, which is kind of funny, because obviously she does love her mother. I mean, she has her feelings towards her mother, but it's normal. Like, I can talk about her ass, but I ain't gonna let you talk about her, and I'm not gonna be cool with you talking about but he has no idea that Kat is Chloe's mother. So then later on, they start rekindling, and he starts telling her stories about his life, tells her that he went to A&M University, and he came from wealth. His mother was this rich white woman. And then we later on see that he tells the same story to Chadwick, because Chadwick just comes into the boardroom mad as hell, you know, threatening Ian and shit. And Ian is like, look, just because we fucking don't mean you can use me as your punching bag. And, you know, he opens up about him being frustrated and all that. And Ian is like, well, I've dealt with men like you before. You know, I know what it's like. And then he tells him the story of his life. And we definitely see the damn story that he told Chloe is not correlating with the story he told Chadwick. So we seen that this bitch is working an aim. And she literally gets Chadwick all into it like, well, I'm sorry you had to go through that, but hey, that's life. And of course, this opens up Chadwick about his life, you know, being in the islands and being dirt poor. So, but then after a while, that damn Ian is straightforward, because Ian was like, you know what? I'm done talking, Chadwick. Take me home and fuck me. I'm like, oh, bitch. Oh. I'm like, okay. And then we kind of see him do the same thing with Winston, where he was, you know, selling him a story, said that Chloe was his assistant and all that shit. Him and Winston end up fucking. And then Winston decides to act like Addison DeWitt and read him his rights like Addison DeWitt did Eve Harrington and All About Eve. That scene gave me All About Eve, where he's like, you can play that shit with everybody else, but you ain't gonna play that shit with me, bruh. So he pretty much exposes him that his name is not really Ian Schuyler, it's Ian Spencer. He also said that, bitch, you're a whore, you go after rich men, and I know you fucking Chadwick, and she was like, and he was like, he told you? And he was like, he didn't have to. I know everything. And at the end of the day, because he was saying that he went to that he graduated at this top university. He was like, bitch, you a high school dropout and you got your trade from Job Corps and you have no money, you rent a room, and you really at the bottom of the barrel, and here you are thinking that Chadwick gonna take you out of this. Chadwick don't got the power to pull you up, boo-boo. And he later on tells him that Chadwick only sees you as a piece of ass. So later on, Winston gives, you know, Ian an apartment, try to put him on game and lets him know that, look, I can put you on and I can make things better for you, but you just gonna have to follow my lead. And you know, you need to just realize, I don't know why you have all this affection towards Chadwick, because he really was feeling Chadwick, and he really was hoping that him and Chadwick were going to have this great life together, because Chadwick sold him the dream. As you do to a lot of hoes. You sell them a dream and see how far they'll go. But, you know, pretty much Winston just broke that, and he was like, man, Chadwick only sees you as a piece of ass, honey. And Chadwick ain't got no pull to do shit for you. And later on, Chadwick comes over to the damn apartment, sees that Ian done upgraded, and he got him a new dude. He's like, well, I'm one surprised. You don't seem like you're the most loyal bitch anyway. You seem like you're the type of hoe that's addicted to money. You just need to understand, you're nothing but a piece of ass, Ian, and that's all you'll ever will be. And then we see that damn Winston comes out with a towel wrapped around him, all wet from being in the shower with his sexy ass. And that damn Chadwick, you can catch his face because his shit got broken. And and Winston was just real cool with it. He was like, yeah. You now know what the deal is, Chadwick. So now see yourself up out of here. We're done with you. And then like Ian was like, yeah, give it up, Chadwick. You're through. You're done. I'm like, Ian, if you don't sit your ass down and shut up. Because Ian was doing the most. And so he done upgraded. And then he had work telling everybody about his relationship. Because we see that he runs into Julian. And we know the reason why Julian is coming back is because he has that thing to hold over Baron. You know, the fact that he knows about him and Ian. But little does Julian know, you're not the only one that knows about Baron. Tessa knows as well. But anyway, he has a conversation with Ian, remember that night that you got shot and you was telling me about, and you was about to go in there and confront Baron about your relationship, and Ian plays dumb like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. But then he tells him, oh, I'm dating Winston and all of that. Now, I'm like, Julian felt some kind of way because I think he's attracted to Winston. And we kind of saw that in Triangle too. When he first met Winston, he was flirting with Winston. So it's like, okay. And Winston did confirm to Fallon that they didn't have sex. He didn't have sex with Julian. He was trying to help Julian, but Julian left. And Julian's just on a rampage to get back at Baron. But the shit was funny because Julian kind of lets it be known to Winston that he knows about him and Ian, and then like Winston's like, why are you interested in my personal prowess? Are you interested or are you jealous? Like, what the fuck? He's like, you know what, you can do whatever the hell you want, but just know that whole situation I was telling you about Baron, it starts with Ian. And I'm like, oh, you messy motherfucker. Because all of a sudden, Winston comes home later that day. Ian's like, oh, darling, you want me to make you some dinner? That damn Winston read his ass for filth and was like, what is your connection to Baron? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, you're literally going to sit there and lie to my face. What's your connection to Baron? He's like, I don't know who's saying this to you, but it's not true. I don't know. I don't have a connection to him. And he's like, I'm going to give you one more fucking time because I'm not here for you lying to me. So you need to tell me what I need to know. And he finally confesses that him and Baron were lovers. And he lets him know that, look, this little bullshit that you be playing with everybody at the office, you do that shit to them. You don't do that shit to me. Because if you lie to me again, that will be the last damn lie you tell. And I'm like, ooh, Winston, you better threaten this bitch. He's like, nah, boo-boo, I'm the pimping you the hoe. I'm teaching you how the game is really going to be played. And we really see that this is what's going on. But then again, Winston, Ian is loving Winston because he done, he kind of did the same thing that Baron did. Took him from obscurity, gave him, some lavish, some luxury and some lavishes, and now he's Team Winston, and he's telling everybody, oh yeah, Winston's my man. Yes. At first he was doing that shit with Chadwick with Christian, and then when he told Christian about him dating Winston, you already know Christian don't like Winston's ass, so they kind of have a run-in the hallway and shit, and he was like, oh, so he's like, so I hear you and Ian are together and everything. Well, let's just say, and like Christian kind of puts it out there that him and Ian used to mess around. Well, he's like, well, obviously it's kind of like a thing of the past because he's never mentioned it. So obviously you're not that memorable. So they kind of had that little tit for tat. And then but then Christian was there to see Elora, but he doesn't know what the hell Elora's been through. And that's when he goes in there and Elora gets his ass together. So that shit was crazy. Then we also have Raven. Raven has, she's pretty much been working with Baron. She's developed a close relationship to him. She's flying on the private jet, handling deals. She's liquidating assets for Baron. She's pretty much really working things. She first meets Marcus and completely blows Marcus off, but Marcus obviously is attracted to her because Marcus likes to chase skirts. And we also know that she also found out about Fallon's secret, setup between her and Lawrence, and then she lets it be known that Baron can't know about this, and she also finds out that that Fallon was pregnant. When Julian gets back, she also tells Julian about it as well, and that she don't know who the father is. And at first, Julian was a real asshole, as he always been. But then again, we're starting to see that he's starting to get this other side, and I think it's because of him being, isolated and Winston working with him. He now gets a different glimpse of things, and he realizes that even though he still has some resentment towards the Davenports, he realized that a lot of that resentment was planted, and that he was acting like a robot going after them, not knowing all the facts and all the details. He was just going after the lies and the pretty much going after the actual lies that he was told by his father. And his father literally set him against the Davenports without him really fully doing his homework. So now we're starting to see a different side to him, where he's starting to become more open. He's now listening more. He's still got that treacherous side just like Fallon does, but at least he's now more he's not so robotic and so mean-spirited as he once was, even though he still got that side. And we definitely see that, you know, Raven is trying to do all she can to help her brother, because we see that the two of them got close, and she's trying to help him, you know, to get himself reinstated and all of that. And she went to Tessa and Elora for help with Julian, and they both was like, oh hell no, we ain't fucking with that fool. The hell with that. And another thing that happened in this episode was Brandon and Jabril. We actually see that Brandon and Jabril have decided to get a divorce, but then to get remarried. And not only that, Jabril has decided to drop the Davenport name and go as Anderson. And he's already switched everything up. You know, he still has his money, his assets, everything business-wise he now has under Anderson. So it's like he's ridding himself of the Davenport name, and he doesn't care that this is going to crush Baron. So we see that they not only get the divorce and go to get remarried, but then we also find out that he's been having secret meetings with little JJ, and Brandon's been going with him, and Brandon says, I want him home with us. And they said, well, once everything's clear, we can do that, but right now he's safe. So we see that he's been meeting up with little JJ, which is cool. And yeah, so pretty much we had that going on. But I also loved it when he went after Julian and Fallon, because Elora does tell him finally that Christian and Fallon were messing around. So he first goes there and he first sees Julian, and this is the first time he's seen Julian since he pulled that fucking stunt where he went on that business meeting with Lawrence, and he sold most of the shares to him. So he pretty much, of course Julian's like, well, I'm sorry about what I did with Lawrence. He's like, you think I'm here about Lawrence? Man, fuck Lawrence, because he don't care about the fucking company no way. But he says, I'm mad about what you did with Brandon. Yeah, you know, here it is. I opened my house to you, treated you like family, and you took advantage of that. And then you try to do the same shit to him. So he pretty much let him know, you stay the hell away from Brandon. Do you hear me? I was like, okay, Jabril. And we literally seen him like a little nephew was like, and then you kind of see him with his head down. I'm like, oh yeah, Julian, you was real fucked up with what you was doing to Brandon. So I'm like, yeah, you already know Jabril will bust your ass. So he let it be known, bro, you stay the fuck away from Brandon, and I will fuck you up. Because we know Jabril don't play when it come down to Brandon. And we see that damn Julian started to cower up, and I'm like, that's what your ass get with your messy ass. But then he goes off on Fallon too, and he's like, you know what, Fallon, save your bullshit. You ain't nothing but a liar, trifling motherfucker, and your damn son is just like you. Rotten tree and a rotten apple. And he pretty much says that the thing that troubles me is that how can a woman who's so intelligent and so beautiful can't seem to find a straight man, or a man that's not my sloppy seconds? Like, really, bitch? Like, your shit. And so he kind of was letting her know that, look, I'm done with you. Stay the fuck away from me. I don't want nothing to do with your ass. And quite frankly, y'all dead to me. But then Fallon peeps in and was like, you know, and Julian's like, well, hey, you know, I thought I did something bad. You actually slept with his ex? well, hey, well, at least we ain't got to deal with him anymore or whatever. And she was like, you really don't know this family. His way is letting you know that he's plotting something and he's going to strike. And when he comes, he comes. He moves just like me. So we both better be on our cues. Because I'm like, yeah, you slept with his ex and Julian, you fucked with his husband. Oh, yeah, he coming for y'all bitches. We going to see what's going to happen with that. But yeah, but that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. I hope this video was not too long, but if it is, bear with me. It's just so much that happened, and I wanted to talk about it. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social links. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. Oh yes, and I just also remember something too. You know, after Christian broke up with Fallon, he starts talking to Ethan, and you know, shout out to Shashant Adlanka for playing the role of Ethan, because Ethan was cute. You know, Ethan was cute. Ethan was really liking Christian, but Christian obviously he literally was a rebound, because he obviously wasn't over Fallon, and he was just trying to put those emotions onto someone else. And that's what led to him and Elora having that argument, because Elora actually liked Ethan. And then for the fact that Ethan was like, dude, I'm not going to be, you know, I'm not a rebound dude, and I really like you, but obviously you still got feelings for somebody else. You need to deal with that. And Ethan just was like, I can't. And I don't blame him, because we've seen Christian do this shit. Christian at one point had his sights set on Jabril. Jabril was his sight, but then when he realized that wasn't going to happen, he moved on to Derek. But then when he saw how much of a piece of work Derek is, and Derek is a piece of work. And also check out, because I am going to be doing, I'm also going to be reviewing Dark Horse as well, so definitely tune into that. So then after that, he went on to Ulysses, aka Ashton, because it's actually Ashton, not Ulysses. And definitely I'm going to be talking about, oh yeah, we'll wait. But then again, I was like, so therefore, then he went after Ulysses. But then when that didn't work out, then he went on to Fallon. And if anything, that damn Elora clocked all of it. She was like, you just went from one person to the next, to the next, to the next, until you got somebody who took your bait, and Fallon was the one who did it. And that's when you fell for and all that. Even though this relationship is toxic, even though this relationship is toxic, because you're lying to stay in it, and then on top of it, if it gets public, it's going to affect a lot of people, even his bottom line. So I definitely wanted to point that out. That was interesting. But yeah, that's what I have, y'all. I'd like to thank all of you for your love and support that you've shown me, and I'm glad to be back. And definitely stay tuned. So until next time, everybody, take care.